All right, how's it going? Welcome back, everyone. I hope you're doing well. So I just wanted to touch on this Ben Davison a little bit deeper after, a couple of days. A lot's been said. A lot of trainers have come out. A lot of fighters have come out. And it's one of those situations, it's like right on the line, where I think if you're fairly reasonable, I think, it's not unreasonable to say, okay, he could have let it go on, even though I personally think he made the right call. I think there have been fights that have happened in the past, where that has gone on and the fighter wins, you know what I mean? It's fighting at the end of the day. And people will say, whoa, that's crazy. How can you say that? What if he got landed with a big shot and he got floored? Yeah, no, I agree. I said that too. But it's like, the reality is, we don't know. We don't know if he would have got hit. Chances are he probably would have. He looked pretty unstable on his legs. And Davison he was saying he didn't know how long was left either, because there's a lot going on in the commotion. Perhaps he should have known how long was left, but 10 seconds is enough time for a dangerous puncher like Lara to let his hands go. But then you've got fans that are just coming out outright saying that it was just absolutely absurd for Ben Davison to do that, and that I don't agree with, because first of all, he's got a split second to make this decision. Okay. Packed, crowded house, live on TV, drama, and then you're like, the ball's on you. Okay, what are you going to do? It's a lot to deal with. And I think, given the care he has for his fighter, and he knows his fighter too, so he made the call that he thought was right in the moment, and you got to respect it at the end of the day. Dominic Ingalls said something what I found interesting and disagreed with. I think he agreed with the stoppage, but he was also suggesting that Lee Wood wouldn't have been able to recover at all, which I found baffling, because it's like, well, how do you know that? I know Lee Wood was hurt, but powers of recovery do differ between fighters, and how conditioned you are. I'd imagine Lee Wood is pretty conditioned. Conditioning can play a massive part in recovery. So are you honestly telling me that there's no chance in the world that Lee Wood could not have recovered at all, to even maybe put himself in a position where he could have held and jabbed or whatever in the next round? I think it's pretty strong to suggest that he couldn't have recovered at all. I mean, I don't think we know that. I think you'd have said, I'll get on to Dan Raphael, but you'd have said the same thing about Tyson Fury when he got floored by Wilder, when he was laying on his back like that. You think this fight's done, and then 2 seconds later he's back up. Yeah, he's like a little wobbly, but he moved, and then 20 seconds after that he's all right. So this is, imagine that. I mean, I'm not comparing Lee Wood to Fury, because Fury's an unbelievable fighter, and his powers of recovery and his determination and heart are legendary, really. But Dan Raphael was comparing the two as if to say something like, he should have just thrown the towel in when Fury went down, and he didn't do it then. Well, what can you imagine if he'd have did that? So I disagree with that. I think you can't compare those two. It's totally apples and oranges. But Tony Bellew has said, he agreed with it. He's a fighter. He'd have wanted to carry on, and Lee Wood wanted to carry on. You see how disappointed he was, But in hindsight, it was probably just the right thing to do. But I can also, if he'd have let it go. I think if he'd have let it go, I think, obviously you're running the risk, aren't you? And, I've always been I'm probably going to get criticised for this. I've always been a big admirer of Steve Smoger. I think he's passed now. Rest in peace, because I feel like he let the fights go just about the right time. He let them fight. And, not to my knowledge, anybody got really badly hurt under him. I could be wrong, but I always really loved how he refereed fights. I've always thought he got it just about right. And yeah, there were times where it's like, oh, come on, he's letting them fight. But, it's a fight at the end of the day. I was watching an interview on this channel that I follow. It's called War of the Week. And there's a coach on there, James Dogi, I think his name is Gogi, and he is no nonsense at all. He tells it straight, and he was against the white towel coming in. He thought, that old school fighters would have carried on. It's a fight, you got to get in there, and, you get your recovery back, and then the next round you can tie him up and get your breathing. So he's seen a lot. He's an old school trainer. I forget who he's trained, but he's trained some big names. I'll write it on the screen, but it's a great channel as well. They really go into detail, and they're a little behind the scenes stuff. I'll leave the link actually in the description, but yeah, so you got all these different opinions. You got fighters, and then Dan Raphael, but it is one of those that you can see split. But what I don't understand is how because James Dogi, he wasn't like outraged at Ben Davison. He was just like, yeah, it's a fighter, man, you got to let him fight. But then you get some fans that are just like disgusted at Ben Davison just because he's taking a lot of stick lately, and I think people just like to jump on the bandwagon. Human beings are sheep-like, really, to be honest. So they don't really think about it, But anyway, I just wanted to get that out there. So it's a contentious subject, it really is, and like I said, especially what could have happened. We'll never know, but there's a pretty sizable possibility that Lara could have really caught him with something really bad. That's the worst case scenario, but there's also, well, he's a fighter, and but I agree with the stoppage, so I'm not trying to say that he should have let him go, but it is what it is. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. I'm out of here, boxing on the edge. Take care.